Hello everyone, my name is Abhilash and welcome to Credit Debit with Abhi. Today's video is very exciting. We're going to be asking ChatGPT a bunch of questions about credit cards and then analyzing what I think about some of the responses. If you want to support the channel, please leave a like and subscribe below. But with that, let's dive in. So the first question we asked ChatGPT is, what are some of the good beginner credit cards? As we start looking at the responses, it recommends 5 credit cards. There's a Discover credit card in there. A couple of them are from Capital One. And there are 2 interesting credit cards from Petal and OpenSky. For me personally, the Discover credit card is a great one. As an immigrant who moved to this country 6 years ago, I applied for a Discover credit card as my first credit card. And it helped me build credit history, which allowed me to start my journey with credit cards. The credit card that ChatGPT recommends is actually a secured credit card, which means you put security down and you're given a credit line in accordance with that security deposit. And as you build your credit score, you can expand what your credit line looks like. The other interesting card is the Petal credit card. While you do not have any late fees on the card, you're still charged an interest. In general, to build good credit history, you should always be looking at paying in full and on time. The Petal credit card is interesting also because it does not take a security deposit and gives you a credit card to begin with. They apparently use a combination of your credit score alongside other factors to determine if you're a good candidate for the credit card. Let me know in the comments below what you think about the beginner credit cards. The next question we asked ChatGPT is to give us a recommendation for great hotel credit cards. Now, as you see the responses from ChatGPT, it recommends a bunch of credit cards from different providers like Marriott and Hilton, amongst others. There are a few things that I think are missing from the responses. The first is that ChatGPT actually misses the concept of value. Now, a lot of the credit cards it recommends are not the best value cards that you can have within your setup. For example, if you look at the Hilton card, I would argue that the Hilton Aspire card is better value, as you get $250 in Hilton credits, you get $250 in airline incidental credits, which are fairly easy to use, and then you also get a free award night that you can use at properties such as the Conrad and Waldorf Astoria and get tremendous value against the $450 annual fee. Moreover, ChatGPT also recommends Ritz-Carlton credit card. Now, there's no direct way to apply for this credit card. You can only product change from one of the existing credit cards into the Ritz-Carlton credit card. So that's again a recommendation that I don't think is value for everyone. For our next question for ChatGPT, we go down the path of asking ChatGPT for its opinion on the priority pass. Now, if you look at the response, ChatGPT claims that it actually doesn't have an opinion because it's an AI model. And then it goes on to describe what priority pass is and what are some of its use cases. For me personally, as I've mentioned in one of my previous videos, the priority pass used to be a great value that you got out of a credit card. But nowadays, most priority pass lounges are extremely crowded, in some cases more crowded than the general airport experience. And so unless you're looking for a free cup of coffee or getting something to eat very quickly, it defeats the purpose of having a lounge. Moving on for our next question, I asked ChatGPT about its opinion on how to optimize for airline status. Now, in my opinion, out of all the questions I asked ChatGPT, this is the one where ChatGPT does a great job of giving a comprehensive answer. So if you look at the response, it goes into tactics such as flying with a single airline to get status, flying frequently, using promotions, using a co-branded credit card. And I feel like if you're optimizing for airline status, these are some of the tactics that I'd recommend using. Like I mentioned in my video around the United Chase Quest credit card, I followed most of the recommendations from ChatGPT in ensuring that I got status with United. Now, one can argue if status is going to be worth it, and I'm planning to make a video on it in the near future. But if airline status is what you're going for, I think the recommendations from ChatGPT are pretty spot on. For our next question for ChatGPT, I asked it about when it is not a good time to apply for a new credit card. It goes into some nuances, such as when you filed for bankruptcy recently, when you have high debt, or if you have a low credit score, which I believe are all feasible reasons. But from my perspective, I think it misses 2 things, which are quite critical in understanding when you shouldn't apply for a credit card. The first is when you're planning to apply for a mortgage. For example, if you're going for a home mortgage, that's not a great time to be applying for a bunch of credit cards, especially if you have a credit card pull by your lender coming sometime in the future. I'd argue you should stop applying for credit cards about 6 months before you're going to apply for your mortgage. The second thing I wanted to call out is ChatGPT says that when you have too many credit cards, maybe you shouldn't apply for a new credit card. Now, The definition of too many credit cards is different for different people. For some people, 2 cards is too many credit cards, and for some people, 50 may not be enough. My personal perspective on this is that if you can manage a bunch of credit cards and extract value from the entire ecosystem, it's absolutely worth going for new credit cards. But if you're someone who struggles to keep a multitude of credit cards, it might be worth sticking to a very, very simple setup. And for our last question for ChatGPT, I asked it for the best 5 credit card setup. I think it misunderstood the question a little bit here because it goes ahead and provides me 5 categories of credit cards that one can have. It goes into business credit cards, secured credit cards, balance transfer credit cards, travel credit cards, etc. Instead, what I was looking for is specific credit cards that I can have in my setup that will help me extract the most amount of value, especially if I'm looking to transfer out to partners or even use it for cashback. I'm planning to make a video on a 5 credit card setup that works for me, so stay tuned for that. If this video was fun for you, please like, and if you like credit card and personal finance content, consider subscribing, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.